Now, all you Trump supporters who were talking shit on Trump, turning y'all's back on his ass because he stood behind Pam Bondi when she said that there was no Epstein list. Do y'all get it yet? If not, let me break it down, fam. It was all a setup. And I think Pam Bondi was in on it. Do y'all not find it suspicious the very first time the talks of the list was being spoken about 6 weeks ago? You even had some Democrats asking for the list to be released. Then 2 days ago, Pam Bondi says there is no list. Now you got Bongino and Patel both saying that they would resign if Pam Bondi don't. Here's where the setup is. Pam Bondi was not Trump's first pick. Matt Gaetz was. Pam Bondi was used because she is liked by all Republicans and some Democrats, while Matt Gaetz is hated by all Democrats and some Republicans. I think Pam Bondi knew she was going to be the Attorney General until August, which is just 2 weeks away. You know what that means? President Trump can follow the Constitution. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 3. He can appoint Matt Gaetz without any Senate confirmation. You know why in August? Because the Senate is out of session. Matt Gaetz can be the Attorney General until January 2026. Enough time for him to change the minds of those individuals on the right that didn't like his ass. And I'm not for anybody weaponizing the DOJ to go after their political rivals, but I do remember when Democrats once told me no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. Well, to me, that implies politicians as well. Trust the process, fam. You may not like how Trump does things or says things, but I do believe in the man, and I definitely think there's reason to his method. I'm just giving him a chance like I said I would. Even though there was a lot of fucked up foul shit that I heard by some of you guys, I still love y'all. But real talk, some of y'all acted like some real Democrats. One team, one fight, one mission. Let's make America great again, huh?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, one and only James Williams Dope Waters, and I'm back. And I said I was going to stay away from this till I had some more data points. And this just exploded on Friday. Normally, Friday ends the week and things end quietly. But when you see Turning Point USA come out in real time, put pressure on the President of the United States, live streaming, hidden C-SPAN, knowing that he has his aides watching, you add in Dan Bongino and Kash Patel threatening to leave, Pam Bondi saying she's not going to resign, and I'm just sitting here saying, well, I'll be damned. I don't know about you, but this is one of the ones where I say I'll be damned. Now, I'll say this. We all know, and I said this, that we have a frenemy named Israel. They really are a frenemy. We all know that Epstein was a Mossad agent. None of that stuff is hidden. But it's been kind of tabooish. You know what I'm saying? It's been, oh, we can't talk about them because they're our friends. And then you say something about it, you become anti-Semitic, and then you get attacked, and then you get banned. And man, all I'm going to tell you is this. People done took their gloves off over Epstein. Do I still believe that this is the time to hash this out? No. I don't believe in giving my enemies any victories. I just don't. I believe in running a perfect campaign. I don't believe in giving my enemies no momentum at all. I just don't believe in it. But that's me. I'm not Donald Trump. I'm not the president. What I will say is this here, something got to shake at this point in time. I mean, when you look at everything that's happened, I'm going to kind of walk through some of the things that have happened. We at the point where something got to shake. And it has no choice but to shake. Either Pam Bondi is going to go, which she's being called, that people are calling for her to go. And my question is, if Pam Bondi goes, then who the hell else goes in her place? The gentleman at the very beginning of this video was speculating on some 14-dimensional chess play that it's going to be Matt Gaetz. I don't think that Matt Gaetz is going to get it unless what that man says is 100% true and Donald Trump appoints him. And Pam Bondi was just a temporary hold. And then Matt Gaetz gets in there. But I'll say this. This next week, just so you'll know, is going to be explosive. The events of this next week are going to be explosive. But let's start with Tucker Carlson just flat out going ham. I mean, Tucker just went, and I'm going to let Tucker go. Tucker went ape crazy.
Not acceptable. And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried. And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There is nothing hateful about saying that. There's nothing anti-Semitic about saying that. There's nothing even anti-Israel about saying that. I've spent my entire life pretty much in Washington, where I knew and loved a number of people, including one very close person who worked at CIA. That has never prohibited me from saying, I think the CIA has done some horrible things, murdered a bunch of people, participated in the murder of a sitting U.S. president. It's got a whole trail of crimes. That doesn't make me a disloyal American. It doesn't make me anti-American in any sense. I was born here. My family's been here for hundreds of years. I love this country. That's why I live here. So criticizing the behavior of a government agency does not make you a hater. It makes you a free person. It makes you a citizen. You're allowed to do that because you're not a slave. You're a citizen. And you have a right to expect that your government will not act against your interests, and you have a right to demand that foreign governments not be allowed to act against your interests. That's not creepy. It shouldn't be forbidden. And yet all of us have trained ourselves to believe that you can't say that somehow, that that's like too naughty and forbidden. And the effect of making that off limits has been to create a lot of resentment, and I'll say it, hate online, where people feel like they can't just say, like, what the hell is this? You have the former Israeli prime minister living in your house. You have had all this contact with the foreign government. Were you working on behalf of Mossad? Were you running a blackmail operation on behalf of a foreign government? By the way, every single person in Washington, D.C. thinks that. I've never met anyone who doesn't think that. I don't know any of them that hate Israel, but no one feels they can say that. Why? And I think the longer that we play along with it, the more subterranean and creepy and hateful the conversation actually becomes. So I think it's better just to say it right out loud. Did this happen? And of course that question has been asked to the government of Israel, and their answer is, we're not going to tell you. And I think our answer should be, no. As long as we're sending you money, if you were committing crimes on our soil, we have an absolute right to know, did you do this or not? And yet everybody has been so brainwashed into thinking that's somehow an expression of hate or bigotry, when it's not. It's a baseline question that every U.S. citizen has a right to an answer on. What the hell was this? And by the way, if it turns out that it was nothing.
And I started with this clip because it's very significant. The Band-Aid of Israel, by all means, is being ripped off the United States of America. And I personally believe it's a Band-Aid that needs to be ripped off. I'm sorry, I've been saying it. I even, a couple of videos ago, I said, you're not going to really have peace in the Middle East if there's a regime change in Israel and Netanyahu is out the door. Said it. It's just, and he doesn't want to go out of the door. Why? Because he's a wartime president. And as long as there's a battle and there's a war, he can stay in office. But it gets bigger and deeper than this. Because I still believe that when you start to compartmentalize what's going on, I still believe that there are signs that the information is being used. The Epstein information. So we have one side where it's, okay, we want prosecutions. And this is just my opinion. I could be wrong. And that's right. And that's just. And I want prosecutions as well. Let me be clear. Then we have the other side of the coin, which is, well, we need leverage over these wicked, evil people to make them do what we want them to do. I think that's right. I think that's the just thing to do, and that needs to be done as well. And the issue is there's no balance. And what we're seeing is an imbalance in messaging to start, and that's purely Pam Bondi's fault. I said for a long time, that trick needed to stop being on TV every 5 minutes and put somebody in prison. Everybody felt that way about Pam Bondi. She did not miss an opportunity to be on TV. We're going to be doing this and this and this and this. Shut up and go do your job. I said it 1,000 times. Shut up. Get off TV. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bond, get off TV and go do your damn job. And it's caught up to him. It really has caught up to him. Now, I'm going to show you some things, some reasons why I do think that this is being used as leverage, and then we're going to come back to this. Watch this. Because there's articles everywhere that show you that people have taken these starch turns. And then there's these complaints from people in other governments that's like, no, our relationship with these people will never be the same again. Yeah, because people handling a business on behalf of America. For example, this at Infowars.com. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon blasts Democrat idiots obsessed with failed wokeism. Now, you got to understand, the DEI initiatives and the woke initiatives were implemented by the International Monetary Fund and these bankers, right? So what makes them make this turn 100% in the 180% in the opposite direction, and then come out and blast the Democratic Party about wokeism? Remember, you just have to remember, just a couple of years ago, it was Black Lives Matter, people kneeling on the football field. Chase Bank was sponsoring it. Then we went into the transgenderism and all the rest of this stuff. They were sponsoring it. Rainbow this, blah, 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 blah. What has transpired that made them switch direction? Some people will say, well, Donald Trump was elected. Yeah. But is that enough to just make it wasn't enough the first time? The first time he wasn't in office, Jamie Dimon was talking trash about him. The first time it wasn't enough to make these people turn and change course. I'm going to show you something else. Hold on. I want to show you this. This damn Queen Lizard comes out. Ursula von Braun comes out and says the relations with the U.S. will never be the same again. What's making these people so afraid? And I'm going to tell you, if you go back and you look closely, everything shifted when we started hearing the news that they raided the FBI office of New York. After that, everything started changing. And that's where they supposedly had all the files and all the rest of this stuff. It's as if the enemies of America are completely and totally on the run. And I'm telling you, these are wicked people. And some of them ain't even damn people. Some of them ain't even damn humans, to be honest with you. What makes them flee like this? I'm just saying that there's more going on to this than we believe. And I know everybody wants to oversimplify. Pam Bondi bad. Yeah, Pam Bondi probably is bad. I mean, after looking at all this, after looking at the reactions of getting the data points from Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, taking a stand. You don't take a stand like that unless there's something seriously wrong with that, right? I don't know what it is. We can speculate. There's data that says that Pam Bondi covered up for Pfizer just recently. There's data points that say that Pam Bondi closed some cases. I think that's going to flush itself out. And I know it's going to flush itself out. The only problem we have with this scenario, with the amount of pressure that's going against Donald Trump, is pride. Remember, he couldn't be brought into pride, by the conflict between him and Elon. But there's a pride trap here that's dangerous. Remember, pride cometh before the fall, and a haughty spirit. Pride cometh before destruction, and a haughty spirit before the fall. Elon Musk went into pride last month, right? And then you start to see the destruction hit him. Now his haughty spirit has come out, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna start my own party. I'm starting the damn American party, and I'm adding all damn Indians to the American party, and we gonna get out here and we gonna take over. And here come his fall. You watching the fall of Elon Musk according to spiritual law. The issue here is this is prime territory for destruction for MAGA, for Donald Trump, and for America. And I know people don't see it that way because they don't look at it from the spiritual laws which govern this realm that we live in. They look at it from, I want to see him prosecuted, and I want to see him prosecuted too. But I'm more worried about the laws, the biblical laws of the realm, than just the regular laws. Because I know if we follow those laws, and the people in our nation follow those laws, then we can get trapped and snared and then set back or delayed or destroyed. Because we can get delayed because of not following the laws. As a nation, we can get destroyed. As a nation, we can take a fall. It's a whole bunch of different things that can happen to us. All right, let's get back to what's going on. And you know, the weirdest thing about what's being said at Turning Point USA, which they're proclaiming that this is the core of the MAGA movement, which I'm not going to say it's the core of the MAGA movement. I'm sorry. You can't say one organization is the core. Before I even knew what Turning Point USA was, I was like, I love me some Donald Trump. But the unique thing about what's happening here is, in this argument altogether, is you really can't disagree with anything that's being said. I'm sorry. There's, a person would have to nitpick and try and find something to disagree. Like, I can't disagree with nothing Tucker has to say. Nothing. Like, watch this. I mean, I fully agree. You see, who can argue with? There's no argument to be made with the points of people who want to see results, and that's why this is so. This is why it's so tricky. Because I'll go to the next person. Nothing anybody says you can argue with. Yeah, but you can't even say, oh, they don't like a person. It's all truth. The issue is, can we get to the result? And what's the route to get to the result? Now, as far as the Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Diane Bongino issue, that's going too far down the road. Something got to happen. Like, I don't necessarily know. I haven't seen a quote from Dan Bongino saying he's going to step down. I haven't seen him say out of his mouth he's going to step down. And I haven't seen, anything officially released. Those are all rumors, as far as I'm concerned. I haven't seen, unless you guys have seen them on television saying, yeah, I'm probably going to step down. So I'm not sure how much of that is the enemy kind of sowing seeds, or if there's a real argument. I'm pretty sure there probably was a real argument. But the point I'm making is this. That issue itself is going to have to be resolved. And all of this is going to have to come to a head within this next week. You can't have two losing Newsweek cycles on this issue, which overshadow everything else that's going on for the Trump administration. If I'm Stephen Miller inside of the administration, I'm like, no, we got to get this shit together. We're going to have to come to a decision what's going to be what. We cannot keep doing this. But we're going to go further, and we're going to see what else is being said. And this is something that I really want to highlight. I just finished talking about how this nation is being ruled by spiritual laws of the kingdom of God. If you don't know, this nation when it was founded, it was dedicated to God, the God of heaven, God the Father, the Son, Jesus Christ. That it was to the Godhead. Point blank, period. There'll be people who say the founding father were Masons, and some of them were this. Yeah, some of them was satanic devil worshipers, and others were Christians. But the thing about God's covenants is his covenants stand thousands of years, right? And so when I say that it's all these attacks are spiritual warfare in essence, in nature, you always see it because it rears its head in the process of things happening. So here we go. Benny Johnson, who I like, by the way, on stage, and Christ is King chant comes out. People start chanting it. However, you understand that when you started saying that Christ is King and he's enthroned in your nation, then there's rules we got to play by. And I'm just saying people got to be careful. You just got to be careful on what you push and how you pull against God's anointed. And I said that the other time, and somebody was like, Trump is not anointed by God. He's anointed by Satan. Oh, my Lord. That's the craziest thing on the planet. While we have people who smuggled in and trafficked children under Joe Biden administration. Like, if you haven't come to the conclusion that Donald Trump is not the devil, I'm sorry, then you're just a freaking idiot. You've been brainwashed. You're a brainwashed liberal fool. I'm just sorry. And some people might not like that. They mean, I'm going to unsubscribe, and I might look at this and be like 3 people unsubscribe. I don't care. But I'm going to tell you this for the sake of your soul. You see, these decisions that you make, who you vote for, who you support, those things are tallied in the courts of heaven. Those are written in the book of remembrance. And so while you sitting there in your pride, because you've been brainwashed to be prideful, to ignore all the evidence, to ignore the fact that you saw kids in cages, to ignore the fact that you saw the borders wide open with people bringing children over, to ignore the fact that you saw on CNN and MSNBC them talking about unaccompanied minors, all under Joe Biden, to ignore all these facts that are laid bare in front of you, doesn't mean that God going to ignore what you did. Oh, James, I go to church and I'm a Christian. Nah, bruh. I'm telling you, people got to be careful. You got to be careful. Because Jesus had said, get away from me, you wicked, slothful servant. Because you was more worried about what you felt and what you want than what he felt and what he wanted. Now, I'm just trying to keep it real with you. Ain't nobody do this. Everybody be, I'm just going to keep it 100% real with you. There's going to be a lot of people that wake up in the wrong place because of pride. Because they can't admit that they were wrong. And because of hate. And see, the worst thing about what the media has done to people with Donald Trump is they put this hate in their heart. I didn't like Joe Biden. Hell, I didn't like Barack Obama's second time around. But there was no hate in my heart for him. It was not like, oh, we need to assassinate Joe Biden. You ain't never hear me say nothing like that. Oh, man, somebody need to do this. No, I never said that. It's just I didn't hate him. I just liked them. I disliked him a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I didn't hate him. And see, the process that people been brought through is once they can inject hate into your heart, then they can inject murder into your heart. And that's what's happened to a lot of liberals. And you watch the process. You know, Donald Trump is this. He's a Nazi. He's this. He's this. He's a sexist. He's this. He's this. They made you hate that man. And now murder's in your heart. And don't say I'm lying, because look at what's going on. Multiple assassination attempts. People online with bull rings in their nose, looking like this, with all kind of hardware in their face. Someone should murder the president. If I see him, look, they got shit hanging out their nose like this. If I see him, he should be murdered. And just, no, them people put a spirit of hate in your heart, and you accepted it, and now murder's in your heart. And you say, I go to church every day, dog water. I go to church on Sundays. Okay. Keep playing. Keep playing. Keep playing. Watch what happens. And ain't nobody else gonna say it, because everybody, they're scared. They can be like, my audience might turn against me. I done had audiences turn against me for the past 10 years. I'm gonna tell you like it is. Keep playing stupid games. You're gonna win stupid prizes.
A lot of things have happened since then, including the presidency. So, I have an obligation to do a good job, I feel, because I was really saved. I was really saved by somebody very special.
Oh, Christ is King chant. Okay, all right. Well, Donald Trump says it. So shall we? Christ is King. Christ is King. Christ is King. It's
a lot of things have happened since then, including.
All I'm saying is, it's a spiritual aspect to this. And we have to respect that aspect of the spiritual nature in which things happen. This, again, Charlie Kirk. No foreign national should be allowed to own a single-family home until this generation can have the same homes that their parents had. I mean, I put it to you like this: no foreign national should be able to come in here and run for office unless their family's been in for at least 2 generations. You can't just come here and do an Ilhan Omar and then run for Congress or run for Senate and then be like, yeah, the white man is the evil and he is the most dangerous threat to the American democracy. And this is our democracy. Trick, this ain't your democracy. You married to your damn brother. Your brother effer? Yeah. She's a brother effer. Come on, man.
Is an angst, there's an uneasiness, there is a worry, there is a concern. And they say in no uncertain terms, Charlie, I'm trying to get my leader's attention. I can't afford a home. I can't afford basic necessities. If I ask a girl out on a date and I get one word wrong, she could report me for sexual harassment. I am surrounded by this political correctness, or if I don't get the pronouns correct of the trans activist next to me in class, it could be the end of my career. My town, my city is flooded by illegal aliens. Charlie, when will my leaders start fighting for me and my generation? I hear every single day from you in this audience, the students, Charlie, why is it that we spend hundreds of billions of dollars on wars abroad, but our own generation has to go endlessly in debt to pay our medical bills and suffer under credit card debt? Why is it that why you, the next generation, have to compete to buy a home against a Chinese oligarch? Let me be very clear. No foreign national should be allowed to own single-family homes until this generation can have the same homes that their parents have.
When I tell you there's nothing that I would disagree with, I mean, Megyn Kelly even spazzed out, and I wouldn't disagree with anything that Megyn said with a little pretty self. I mean, it's just common sense facts. And I'll tell you why this is going to create movement, and it has no choice but to create movement. Because Turning Point USA has made this place the training ground for future conservative politicians. And when Donald looks at this, he looks at a huge part of the legacy of the conservative movement. And if he doesn't move in the right direction, those people will make war with him. And it's obvious that they just showed they're prepared to make war with the president. But they're not going to make war in unrighteousness. They just going to make war in truth, which is very dangerous for him, which puts him in a trap because it allows him to come into his pride. And overall, guys, that's the thing that worries me about this whole scenario. It's the number one thing that worries me. Amanda Grace gave a word about a month ago. She said, pray for Donald Trump because they're trying to turn my David into Saul. Remember what Saul's sin was? Saul was prideful. Is this not my nation, Israel? And then God told Saul to kill all them people, every last one of them. Why? Because they was blood drinking, blood eating, cannibalistic, giant bloodline, Nephilim people. James, your God doesn't. Why would your God tell people to kill people? Because they're a bunch of damn demonic ass people. Drinking blood, sacrificing babies, worshiping other gods. Things would be real easy if we can go back to them days. We ain't on them. We ain't on that time. It'd be real easy if we can go back to them days. The funniest thing is people have allowed foreigners into our nation who's still on that type of time. But nonetheless, let me get back focused. The point I'm making is this. This is an opportunity for him to turn into Saul. So if you want to do anything this weekend, you need to be praying for the administration to have peace in the administration, for peace to be in the nation, for peace, for guidance and wisdom to go into that White House so they can make the right decision. I don't see the 3D, 4D dimensional chess moves that everybody's seeing in this. I just don't. And don't get me wrong. I see multiple chess moves being played. This don't look like a chess move thing to me. This looks like some real organic, ground up, fundamental conservative issues that need to be resolved. And this is truly the first challenge to the Donald Trump administration. And it's a dangerous challenge. I'm going to get to Megyn Kelly, then I'm done. Now, we say Megyn Kelly for last. Megyn Kelly goes ham And I'm going to end it off with this. See, when all the pundits across the board is gunning for your head and they're applying pressure like this, there's no way that Pam Bondi can stand. So you might as well prepare for Pam Bondi to go. If Pam Bondi does not go, it won't be because it's something that she did. It will be because Donald Trump does not want to allow people to put this kind of pressure point leverage on him. And that's just going to be the honest to God truth. If Pam Bondi doesn't go, it's not because of anything that Pam Bondi did to stay. It's because the president does not want people to allow people to use this kind of leverage against him. Because it's a very dangerous thing when people realize that they can scream and holler and get a result from the president. And it requires a lot of maturity. And honestly, it requires a lot of responsibility on the behalf of the people who are doing it. And I'm just pointing out the fact that this is dangerous, and I'm hoping that God can navigate us through it.
Social media.
We'll update you.
Why don't you update them, Megyn?
Well, this is the first big scandal, I'd say, of the Trump administration that's on Team Rational. It's not a fake media scandal like the left tries to create for President Trump every other day. It's one of the right's own making, and it's not going well. And it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Let me just ask you, make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
Everybody cares.
A lot. I said a lot. Every hand.
Here's what I think is happening. I don't think President Trump is focused on this. He's focused on a lot of other things which are going great, and he needs to be focused on those other things. Jeffrey Epstein's not the most important thing on his agenda by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he's crushing it on the tariffs, foreign policy, just got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. If not Trump, then who? Honestly. Barack Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize after 9 months in office. He had done nothing. He gave a nice speech about Muslims, and they gave it to him. So President Trump should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and there's all sorts of things he's focused on. I just don't think this has captured his attention quite yet. But it needs to, because it's starting to create a real hornet's nest within the administration. And I've got to be honest, I blame Pam Bondi. I'll tell you why, okay? I have nothing, yes, incompetence, yes. I have nothing against Pam Bondi as a human being. I was fine with her nomination and her confirmation, and she's been loyal to the president. And I get that President Trump needs a loyal Attorney General. Look what happened with Sessions the first time. He went away, and then the next thing you know, we had the Mueller investigation, and it was a nightmare. But there are a lot of other people who can be loyal and competent in that job. Here, she is the reason that things are unraveling around this story right now that virtually all of the Republican Party cares deeply about. It's also true that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had questions about Epstein before they took office, okay, before they went into the FBI. But once they joined the FBI, they said nothing. They've kept their mouths shut about Epstein. You have not seen them, except for one joint appearance with Dan and Kash on Fox, running all over the media looking for attention on this, yes, clickbaity story. Who have you seen? Pam Bondi. She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way. Try to lead you to believe that she's got it, it's on her desk, it's coming tomorrow, you're going to see something on Epstein. And it was a tease. So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then, or that she's telling the truth now. But both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News all those times, saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night at the tail end of a holiday weekend to Axios, as if Axios is where we all go for our news. Hell no. She went to someone she knew would not kick the tires on the story, and without signing the memo, dropped it in the dead of night and said, that's it, take the crumbs and be happy. Refused to come out and give a presser, come out and give a press conference, stand there for 6 hours to the point where people are dying of boredom. They've asked all their questions. That's how you put a scandal to rest. But she wouldn't even sign her name to it. And I'm telling you, I have dollars to donuts. It's going to come out that there was internal consternation over that memo, and whose name did and did not go on it, and who it was and was not behind it. And so now you have a situation where her words on the record on Fox News are diametrically opposed to what she put in this memo. She's embarrassed the president. She's embarrassed herself. And Dan and Cash, to the extent they've had to sign off on that, let's understand the FBI is controlled by the DOJ. FBI is subservient to DOJ. She's their boss. That they're in this position where the only comments they've made on the record as administration officials have been, we don't think he killed himself, and we don't think he got murdered. We think he did kill himself. We've looked at the tapes, and Cash to Joe Rogan saying, if I saw all these tapes of Jeffrey Epstein with little girls, trust me, I would show you. But I haven't seen it. Okay, so what they're saying now is consistent with what they've said since they joined the office, and that is one of the many reasons why this scandal is squarely on her, and I'm telling you, I'm of the cable news universe. I've seen it happen a million times. People get thirsty. They love to see themselves on television. They love to see their names in the Klieg lights. They love the attention. They love the little emails and texts and tweets and thumbs up they get after their appearance, and they can feel their star rising. And listen, internally, I'm told there's a bit of like a power struggle between Pam Bondi and another female administration official on who's going to be the top dog. You know, we've got a great bench behind President Trump. We've got JD. We've got Marco. You know, we've got Hegseth. We've got a lot of people who could potentially be next up. But there are some women who've got their eye on that role too. And I've been...
That gives a lot of understanding and insight into what's going on. I told you Megyn Kelly was going to spaz. So one thing you can give Megyn Kelly credit for is being a dog. I still don't like the way she did Alex Jones. I still felt like she was working with the deep state to try and get Alex Jones. But people have the right to rebrand and remake themselves. And I think she's done a good job of rebranding from being a wicked witch to trying to get towards the right side. And so good job, Megyn Kelly. Good job. And it makes sense that Pam Bondi will want to be up next. That makes a lot of sense as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one and only James Williams, Dark Waters. I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next video. It'll be about 4 hours.